Howdy Pitmasters, today we are doing chicken gyro on the charcoal spit rotisserie. So for this one we're using chicken thighs. Now the reason we use thighs is because we can prepare this meat a lot better to get the results we're after if we use thighs. So first thing we're going to do is you're going to grab your chicken thighs and butterfly them open nice and flat and use a sharp knife to trim off any big bits of fat or skin that might be hanging off to the side, and use the knife to flatten them out and get them nice and symmetrical, nice and uniform. We want them as even and flat as we can get these chicken thighs. So I'm going to get the rest of these chicken thighs out and do the same thing and get them all laid out nice and neatly. That way I can get some rub on these things. So while they're not perfect, this is kind of what you're aiming for look-wise. Now that we've done that, time to rub them up. Now you can use any type of Gyros rub or a souvlaki type rub, whatever you're going for. But I'm just using a homemade one, a homemade Greek style type rub that I use for souvlaki, gyros, that sort of thing. And rub them up real liberally, pat dry them in and get that rub nice and absorbed in there. Then we're going to flip them all over and do the exact same thing. We want to just get as much rub on all corners and all edges of this meat as much as possible. Get a nice even coat too, that's key here, get a nice even flavour coat. And there you have it. There you have it, looking good, all ready to get on the spit. Okay, so for best results with a charcoal spit, I recommend lump hardwood charcoal, so we're firing up the chimney now. Alright, it's been about 15 minutes and this chimney full of charcoal is looking pretty hot, so it's time to pour it in. Okay, so we're going to pour this chimney in here, right next to the unlit coals here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to try and move these lit ones into the unlit ones and catch them alight. Now the reason we've got the unlit ones here is obviously you can only fit so much in a chimney, but we want to make sure we've got enough that hopefully this whole lot here lasts the entire cook without having to reload. Okay, so to get our meat onto our spit rod, you take the prongs off one end and you slide the thighs down onto the rod here. But you do this in a crisscross method. So long ways, so short ways, long ways, short ways. That way you can really squish them in together and you get like a nice crisscrossy sort of shape out of what you've got. And compress them all together, put your prongs back in and use those prongs to squish them together as much as possible. And then get some of that chicken going through the prongs too. Then, obviously, you get your spit rod over your fire. And what I've done here is you can see I've separated out the charcoal. That way I've got a bit of a cooler space in the middle, directly under the chicken so it doesn't burn. But got direct heat coming from both the right and left sides here. Now, yes, I could have probably got this thing closer in the middle, but it's where we landed it on the spit rod. So we adjust where our charcoal sits in the pit to mix. We'll come check it later. Okay, it's been about an hour and a half and this stuff is still pretty hot and it's cooking well, and we want to come back soon when we think we're ready to probe this chicken for doneness. So with chicken you really want to be aiming for at least 170 Fahrenheit to make sure it's safe, and you can see where we're checking all the different bits of chicken here on the cook that we're averaging around that 130, 140 area. So not quite done, we'll come back and check it in another hour or so. Alright, after an hour, we're probing around 170 to 175. I reckon we're good to go. Look at that. Perfect. So what you want to do is you want to try and get those little chicken shards, that real, just how you would expect a gyros or souvlaki to look. You want to try and cut down on an angle and get those shards. Just like this. And there you go. This stuff's ready to put into our wraps. So we're just using like a pita bread, bit of barbecue sauce, some lettuce, real basic here, nothing too fancy, but it looks real good and it's going to taste just as good. And of course, we're going to toast these things in the sandwich press. And there you have it. Taste test, proved awesome results. Thanks guys, I'm Mark from Grillmark's Barbecue. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Keep on smoking guys. Cheers.